I thought all grandpas lived behind locked doors. Every Sunday, my dad would take me to visit Grandpa Joe at what we called the special apartment building. It had long, echoey hallways and heavy doors that needed key cards to open. The whole place smelled like hospital soap and lemon disinfectant. I was maybe 6 the first time we went. I didn't question it. Grandpa Joe's room was tiny. Just a narrow bed, a single chair, a mini TV bolted to the wall. I figured this was just how old people lived. Quiet, simple, alone. Before we'd go in, Dad would hand me a bag of Werther's candies. "Give these to Grandpa," he'd say. Grandpa's hands always trembled opening them, so I'd unwrap them one by one and hand them over like golden coins. He'd smile at me like I was giving him treasure. He used to call me John's boy. My dad's name is Michael, but he never corrected him. Just smiled and said, "That's right, Pop. I thought that's what happened when you got old. You forgot some stuff, mixed up names, told the same stories about factory buddies and missing work for a cold." He used to talk like he was heading into work the next day, like nothing had changed. The nurses would always beam when I showed up. "Oh, look who's here! Grandpa Joe's favorite visitor!" They brought him an extra pudding cup whenever I came, and I thought it was because I was the best grandkid. And maybe I was, in a weird way, because I kept coming. When Grandpa Joe got confused or upset, like the day he asked where his wife was and Dad gently reminded him that Grandma had died 10 years ago, he'd cry like it was brand new. I remember whispering to Dad, "Why did you say that?" Now he's sad. Dad just looked at me with the kind of exhaustion you don't have words for when you're 9. Still, every Sunday we went. I showed Grandpa my new toys. I told him about school. I made him smile. I had no clue that what I was doing mattered more than I could understand. One day, I saw a sign near the front desk I'd never noticed before. Memory Care Unit. I asked Dad what it meant on the drive home. He was quiet for a second, then said, "Grandpa has Alzheimer's, buddy. His brain's sick. It makes him forget things." "Like what things?" "Sometimes, everything. Sometimes he doesn't know Mom died. Sometimes he doesn't know who I am." I stared out the window and didn't say anything for the rest of the ride. That's when everything clicked. Why Grandpa Joe was always confused. Why the nurses were so gentle. Why Dad brought me every week. My cousins had stopped visiting once Grandpa forgot their names, but I'd never known him any other way, so I never expected him to remember me. I just liked the way he smiled when I walked in. For 5 years, I was his anchor without even knowing it. Last week, I took my own 5-year-old son to meet Grandpa Joe for the first time. He's in a wheelchair now, barely talks. But when my boy climbed into his lap and handed him a Werther's, Grandpa took it with shaking fingers, smiled faintly, and whispered, "You're John's boy, right?" My dad looked at me, eyes full of tears. I just nodded. "That's right, Grandpa." I think the most messed up thing about it all is also the most beautiful. That my dad never corrected him. That I never corrected him. That we let him hold onto the scraps of memory he still had, even if they were stitched together wrong. If it made him happy, it was enough. I used to think I was just visiting. Turns out, I was the medicine he needed most. And now, maybe my son will be that for him too.